Hi, welcome to our presentation on the Information Architecture Report of the New Brunswick Free Public Library. This is our team. I am Annapurni Muthuraman and my teammate is Laura Gordon. First, let's get to know the current website and the library itself. The library primarily encourages community engagement and it conducts all kinds of events and offers tutoring options for patrons. They provide access to online databases and have archives of newspapers, maps, and pictures of New Brunswick. It is a walking library and it is located at the center of the town. Whereas for such a library, the website primarily acts as an information provider where patrons could learn about services, hours, and the address. And for members, it acts as an electronic branch of the library where they could access digital databases and manage their library account. The patrons that we identified for the library or the personas that we identified are three of them. The first is Maria, who's a mom of two boys. She does not have a car or a computer. She goes to the library so that her boys could have a place to learn and read, and also because she can learn English there. The second is Joseph, who is a high school junior and he's 16 years old. He lives with his family. He wants to be able to move out of New Brunswick someday and go to college. He goes to the library so that he can prepare for his graduation and take the services of the tutors available at the library. The last is George, who is homeless and gets food from the soup kitchen. He goes to the library so that he can stay warm and stay respected. He uses the computers and also socializes at the library. So we did a competitive analysis of the New Brunswick Public Library with three others. They are Perth Amboy, North Brunswick Public Library, and the East Brunswick Free Public Library. We chose Perth Amboy because it has a very similar demographics to that of New Brunswick. That is a walking library as well, and they have very few virtual services. The North Brunswick Public Library, on the other hand, is a driving library. The North Brunswick Public Library and the New Brunswick Public Library have a significant audience overlap, which means that people who live in New Brunswick but would prefer to drive go to the North Brunswick Library instead. The East Brunswick Public Library is much larger and has a very thriving online presence, and it is probably something what the New Brunswick Public Library would want to get to someday. In terms of similarities across these four sites was that they had common labeling and words that was used across the site, and the overall information that was available in the site is similar. And some of them, all of them are closed due to COVID-19 right now, but some of them still have their virtual library working. The difference was primarily in the fact that the information was laid out differently, which made accessing it difficult on a few websites, whereas easy on a few on the few others, and also that some of them have have a significant virtual presence. So this is the current site map of the New Brunswick Free Public Library. The first is Home, which goes to the home page. The next is Services, which lists all the services available at the library. Then comes Events, which lists the events. Then the archives of the library, and then we have Kids, and then Teens, which lists all the services and books available for them. The next is About the library, and the last is an option to translate to Spanish. So now I would be handing over to my teammate Laura, who will take us through a detailed analysis of two tasks that we conducted in the first click and the tree test.
Thank you very much, Anu. We selected two tasks to analyze that we felt were really important for any patron of the library that they needed to use when working with the website. The first one is finding the hours of the current site or the current library. With the library currently, to find the website, you would have to go into About, and then from there you could find the Contact Us, which would include the hours and holidays. When we ran the first click test, only 25% of our participants found the option through the first click, meaning found it through the website itself. In the navigation test, it was a little bit more successful. In fact, 67% were able to find it, and that's because it is under the About section. They were able to see where hours and holidays were. After our analysis, and we actually made some major changes to the website, we saw some really great, significant satisfaction of our testers. Number one, we created a new menu item called Hours. And the reason why is we feel it's such an important option. We also put hours right on the home page on the right-hand side. After doing that, 100% of our testers actually found the hours. Also in the revised tree test, when we were testing to see if by us putting it in the navigation how it worked, we got 67% correct, which is interesting. It's the same as before, but we also got 17% did eventually find it. They just went to about first and then found it that way. So it would be considered an indirect find. Another test that we did is finding a tutor. After speaking with the executive director of the library, a big service that the New Brunswick Public Library offers for all people are the access to tutors and Rutgers College students that help with the students. On their current website, you would have to go to the teens page, and then through there, underneath study hall, there was a link option for tutoring. On our first click test, we showed the testers this exact page. So they saw the link on the bottom right, but nobody could actually find it. In fact, most people went directly to the services menu item when we asked them if you were looking for a tutor. In the navigation test, it was a slightly better. People tried and got closer to it, meaning some of them did go to teens, but again, nobody actually found the Rutgers tutor under the study hall option. And we think it's because the term study hall may not have been resonated with the actual testers. Once we made our revisions on the site, we saw really great improvement. So first of all, on our teen page, we put Find a Tutor as a major button area on the site. And we put that under kids and teens, actually, instead of dividing it up. In addition, we have it on the right side as well. And once we did it this way, 100% of the participants that tested found it. In our tree test, it actually wasn't as successful. When people looked through the tree, it was about 40% correct altogether. 20% found it indirectly, meaning they went from one spot to another. But another 40% didn't find it at all because they were looking under the services menu item. And because of that result, we actually ended up putting a tutoring option under services as well because that's what people were looking for. Next, I'm going to give you a display of how we ended up redesigning the original sitemap into what we thought made the most sense. We performed an open card sort. With an open card sort, what it means is that the participants could select themselves what categories they thought different things would go into, instead of us selecting them ahead of time. In the end, you could see our card sort based on the standardization grid. Most of the selections were all over the place. So what we did was we went through to try to standardize the categories. We came up with 8 different items, which was about us, how do I, information, kids and teens, news, activities and events, resources, services, and volunteer and a give. And again, this wasn't necessarily our sitemap result, but this is how we were trying to organize all of the different pieces. When we came to the decision of revising the sitemap, however, we went through all of our tests to combine together to figure out the best places we should put things. Our new head menu items were going to be about, services, books and more, teens and kids, news and events, contribute, hours and contact, a Spanish translation. A couple of notes, the Find a Tutor, we ended up putting in multiple places. We put that within kids and teens. We also put it within the services as well. In addition, we decided to add a books and more option because when we asked the questions about finding a book, reserving a book, people didn't associate that necessarily with membership or fines. So we figured that what people would resonate more with would be books and more. And the and more is really the multimedia concept of the library. Next, Anu is going to show you how we redesigned the actual prototype.
Thank you, Laura. Now let's take a look at the prototype that we designed for the library. So for the prototype, we redesigned 5 pages, which we thought had all the important features and the information that was commonly used by our patrons. So the 5 pages that we redesigned are the homepage, the services page, books and more, kids and teens, and hours and contact. What we see on the right side is a snapshot of the new homepage. What we see here on the far right is the snapshot of the services page, and next to that is a mobile version, mobile responsive version of the same. So now let's click and view the interactive prototype. So what we see right here is our homepage. At the top, we have a banner which shows the most recent news and events and happenings or anything that the library may want to highlight, and this can be changed from time to time. Below that, we have a carousel which shows upcoming events. This has the 3 most recent upcoming events with a button to click and view all the events. Next to that, on the right, we see a component which displays today's date as well as the working hours for the day. Below that is a section called Good to Know, which displays all the important links or information that people look up regularly. Some of them that we included are tutoring services, how to get a library card, online resources, etc. So now let's click on the menu and go to the services page at the top. So here we have the services landing page. On the top right, we have a side navigation which has all the options that are available in services, and this would be available in all the sub pages of services as well, which allows for internal navigation within the section. Below that is a list of upcoming events that people can view. This is available in this page as well as on a few sub pages. Next to that is a card layout, which displays all the services that are available at the library, along with a small section called What You'll Find, with a small description of what users can expect to see when they click and go to that page. So now let's go to Books and More. This has a very similar layout to services with a navigation on the right and a card layout. So this is a layout that can be used for any landing page on the website. Now let's click and view Kids and Teens. Kids and Teens is again here with side navigation, cards, along with the description of what people can expect to see on the page and a list of upcoming events. Click and view the hours and contact page. Now this is a comprehensive page that provides details about the working hours, holidays, and the contact information of the library. And that's all we have for the presentation. Thank you.